Multi-step equations, part 2. In today's lesson, students will learn how to solve multi-step equations using distribution. Using what? Distribution. Very good. So today we're going to go over a very important skill called distribution. Called what? Distribution. And distribute actually means to multiply. So let's write that. Distribute means multiply. Because when you distribute, you're usually distributing or multiplying a coefficient outside of parentheses. So there's a way that we remember what does distribute mean. So we're going to hold our finger in the air like this. We're going to say distribute, multiply. Ready? Go. Distribute, multiply. One more time. Distribute, multiply. So you might wonder, why am I doing this? Well, because when you distribute, that means you're multiplying both terms in the parentheses by what is outside of the parentheses. Here the coefficient is 2. The coefficient is what? It's 2. So when we say distribute, it means I'm going to multiply 2 times the first term, which is x, and I'm going to multiply 2 times the second term, which is positive 3. Okay? So that's why we make the wave, because you're multiplying twice. You're going to do 2 times the first term and 2 times the second term. So the terms that we have inside parentheses are x plus 3. Now, we're saying there's 2 of those, all right? If we did this with repeated addition, I would say, okay, there's 2 of x plus 3. So I'm going to take x plus 3, and I'm going to write it again, and I'm going to add them together. All right? What's x plus x? Again, that's 1x plus 1x. What's 1x plus 1x? It's 2x. Awesome. What's 3 plus 3? It's 6. So when we distribute out, it's a shortcut for this repeated addition, and we have 2x plus 6. Can we combine those terms? No, they're unlike terms. So let's distribute and multiply. What do you think 2 times x is? What's 2 times x? 2x, right? There's 2 of them. So remember, when a coefficient and a number are touching, it means they are being multiplied together. So 2x, awesome. And what is 2 times 3? 2 times 3 is 6. Do these match 2x plus 6? Yes. So what did we just do? What I did is I distributed, or I multiplied this coefficient by both terms in the parentheses. So let's write that. First, distribute or multiply. The coefficient, what is outside of the parentheses, to both terms in the parentheses. Parentheses tell you to multiply. Okay? So we did 2 times x and 2 times 3. Then we're going to have an equal sign on here so we can solve an equation. Now, again, if there's no equal sign, this is an expression, and this would be the answer. But we're going to take it one step further and solve an equation. Go ahead and get that down. So let's take a look at number 1. Number 1 says 4 times the quantity of 2x plus 2 equals 32. And the quantity is what's inside the parentheses. There's 2 terms inside the parentheses. There's a coefficient outside of parentheses, which means we have to distribute. What does distribute mean? Hold your fingers in the air, go like this. Distribute, multiply. Do it again. Distribute, multiply. So we're going to multiply or distribute 4 times the first term, 4 times 2x, and 4 times 2, making that wave. All right? So let's multiply out these coefficients. What is 4 times 2x? Just multiply coefficients now. What's 4 times 2x? It's 8x. Very good. And what is 4 times 2? This is just a constant. 4 times 2? It's just 8. And it's positive 8 equals 32. Now we can solve our equation. First make a t, circle 8x. What's the opposite of positive 8? It's negative 8. Negative 8 both sides. Awesome. Okay. So a positive 8 and a negative 8 make 0. Bring down the 8x. And now 8x equals 32 minus 8. 32 minus 8, what's that? It's 24. Okay, so now we have 8 times x equals 24. What's the opposite of multiplication? It's division. You want to divide both sides by 8. So 8 divided by 8 is 1, and x equals, what's 24 divided by 8? 24 divided by 8 is 3. X equals 3. Make sure and put a box around your answer. Now let's write down number 2. It says 2 times the quantity of 5x minus 4 equals 42. So we see a number outside of parentheses. When you see parentheses, you need to distribute. Say distribute, multiply. Finger in the air. Distribute, multiply. All right, so we're going to do 2 times 5x and 2 times negative 4. What's 2 times 5x? Just work with the coefficients. 2 times 5. What's 2 times 5? It's 10. Don't forget the x. They're touching because they're being multiplied. And then 2 times negative 4 is, what's 2 times negative 4? Remember, positive times a negative is negative 8. That's the trickiest thing here. Equals 42. Okay? All right. So now let's solve the equation. Let's make a t. Circle 10x. What's the opposite of negative 8? It's positive 8. I'm going to add 8 to both sides. Okay, awesome. A negative 8 and a positive 8 make 0. Bring down 10x. What's 42 plus 8? 42 plus 8. 50. Good. Now, this is saying 10 times a number equals 50. What is that number? Let's divide both sides by what? 10. Awesome. So 10 divided by 10 is 1, and x equals 50 divided by 10 is 5. Very good. Go ahead and get that down. Now write down number 3. It says negative 5 times the quantity of 2x minus 2 equals negative 20. All right. So we see now a negative coefficient outside of parentheses. So we're going to distribute, multiply, the negative 5 times 2x and negative 5 times negative 2. We have Bob's cousin here to help us. What is negative 5 times positive 2x? What do you think that is? What's negative times a positive? It's negative. Good. So negative times positive is negative. It's negative 10x. Don't forget the x. Now let's do negative times negative. What's negative times negative? It's positive. So negative 5 times negative 2 is positive 10. So that's a little tricky. That's a positive 10. Equals negative 20. Okay. So let's solve this equation. First, make a t. Make sure you circle negative 10x. Negative 10x. What's the opposite of positive 10? It's negative 10. All right. A positive 10 and a negative 10 makes 0. Bring down negative 10x. Now, here we have a negative 20 and a negative 10. Same signs or different signs? Same signs, right? So say same signs, add and keep. So what's negative 20 and negative 10? It's negative 30. Awesome. What are we going to now divide both sides by? Divide both sides by a negative 10. Negative 10 divided by negative 10 is 1. What does x equal? Tell me what x equals. What do you think negative divided by negative is? It's going to be positive what? Positive 3. Very good. Positive 3. Go ahead and write that down. Now time for our last example. Let's read it together. Negative 3 times the quantity of negative 3x plus 3 equals negative 27. So we see a number outside of parentheses. We need to distribute. Say distribute, multiply. Again, distribute, multiply. All right. So now we're going to use Bob's cousin to help us to remember what happens when we multiply negatives together. What's negative 3 times negative 3x, you think? Negative 3 times negative 3 is what? It's positive 9x. Don't forget the x, they're being multiplied together. All right, then we're going to do negative 3 times a positive 3. What's negative times positive? Negative 3 times a positive 3 is what? Negative 9. Very good. Equals negative 27. All right, let's solve this equation now. First, make a t, circle 9x. What's the opposite of negative 9? The opposite of negative 9 is positive 9. All right. Negative 9 and a positive 9 makes 0. Bring down 9x. And over here, do we have the same signs or different signs? Let's see. Negative 27 and positive 9. Same signs or different signs? Different signs, right? So what do you do with different signs? Different signs, subtract, keep the sign of the higher number, then you'll be exact. All right. So we have basically 27 minus 9, which is 18. And what's the higher number, 27 or 9? 27. So you're going to end up with a negative 18. Very good. Now, 9x equals negative 18. What should you do to both sides? Divide by 9. Awesome. 9 divided by 9 is 1. X equals negative 18 divided by positive 9. What's a negative divided by a positive? It's negative. So it's negative, tell me, negative 2. All right, go ahead and write that down.